Hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues episode number 50. This is with Ron and Jesse James Kosakowski. Jesse James is off his debut win at Bellator 216 or 261, and 7 months ago we were talking about it, so I wanted to jump back onto the program with the two of them and get some tips and insights on his Bellator experience. So enjoy Jeet Kune Do Dialogues episode number 50 with Ron and Jesse James Kosakowski.
Yep, I can still hear you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm quite disappointed you don't know the difference between Bob Marley and Peter Tosh.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I know you would think I would know that because I actually like the music a lot. And
what the heck is up with that?
I know. I feel bad. Okay. Can you see us perfectly now? Or?
Yeah, you look fine. You look fine.
Awesome, awesome.
All right. So let me add myself to the list of congratulations, Jesse.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Man.
Thank you.
So the first thing I got to tell you, that was so scientific how you set stuff up. I don't even know anything about ground fighting, and I watch you like stabilize that guy's shoulders and then drop the elbow on him. And I'm thinking, this guy is a scientist with this.
The dude I fought was actually he was a BJJ black belt. He was a very, very good opponent, very skilled. Not grams, we don't want to screw it up. He was a BJJ black belt, so I knew going in there that he was going to have a lot of skills on the ground. But he actually surprised me though with some of the stuff he was doing, because I was working with a lot of high-level guys this camp over in Boston. I trained over in West Haven at FAA, and then obviously I'm working with him all the time on different stuff. I've been working, catch wrestling and things of that sort for years. So, but it was good, man. It was an amazing moment. The place was crazy. The energy was very high there. Yeah. It was cool. It was real cool.
Did you see when he was going? He didn't go into Kosakowski, but when he was starting to go into Kosakowski, the whole audience stood up and cheered. Yeah. When he took him down, the whole audience stood up and cheered. Like they don't understand his stand-up skills because he never gets a chance. He got a chance more in this fight than he ever got a chance. The guy couldn't get the punch.
I was thinking about that. But the other thing I wanted to ask you, because it seemed to me as if what you were doing on the ground is the equivalent of like stand-in lock flow.
Yes.
Yeah, in a way.
Yes. We work him on a lot of lock flows. That's in the last week of the camp, especially the last 3 days. What we do is we work. I have a pin flow. I actually don't use Larry's pin flow. I created a pin flow actually out of all my different teachers actually. And it's a very logical one. Every time I teach it, people have their top game down. I mean, that day, so it's a very logical one. And then there's all the locks off of each one. And what he does, he gets me or somebody in there, and what he does, he goes through it all again and again and again, even though he knows it and has been doing it since who knows when. Right. And still it embeds it in his head for the last minute remembering.
Drills pay the bills.
Yes.
So that repetition, Jesse, is what makes it then become what Eric Paulson would call a high percentage technique.
Absolutely. Yes. It becomes muscle memory. If you train something over and over and then you visualize, it's not even just the training aspect, it's also the visualization. I'm a big believer in meditating, visualizing exactly what you're going to do. Before every single fight, I always kind of take time to myself, in silence, and just think about, visualize what I'm gonna do in my head. I dream it. There's a lot that goes behind actually pulling off any of the techniques that you guys saw me do over the weekend.
That's impressive for somebody who's only 22 years old, man.
Go ahead, say that again.
That's impressive for somebody who's 22 years old.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's what I mean. I was just saying that. Like, he is so focused as if he's like my age, and, after you've been so many years, what I mean when, you you get that far, you're very focused on your technique, and he's very focused, you know.
Yeah. Jesse, were you thinking of this when you were 8 years old?
I was thinking of doing it. At the time, I didn't know I was going to go as far as I did. I mean, I did. Obviously, you know, every kid has a dream. You know, you got kids that want to be astronauts. You got kids that want to be baseball players. I wanted to do this, but to be honest, I never would have expected myself to have gotten as far as I did. And I mean, once I started getting older, I knew where I was headed. But at 8 years old, I wouldn't have known that. I was just doing it. You know, when I was 8, my very first tournament that I competed in, I came like 4th place or something like that. I think 4th and 3rd, right?
Yeah.
I got like 3 trophies that day, and it was all like 4th, 3rd, and another 3rd. And then my next fight, my next grappling match came 3rd. Next one came 2nd, and then eventually when I got my first, I was hyped. I was only like 10 years old, but I never would have expected to get as far as I have so far.
By 10 years old, most of us thought he was going to go into the UFC. The whole class says he's UFC material,
right?
You know, because of stand-up. You know, if you saw his old stand-up videos and stuff like that, he was doing good. He was doing good at the what do you call the grappling, and I don't even know. He became 3 years in a row world champion, Naga, of course.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was beating people from England or wherever they were from, you know, when Naga was really big like that, you know.
And Naga used to be huge.
Yeah, Naga was huge when he was younger.
I think Naga's kind of getting it's not like they're being overshadowed, but like a lot of these sub-only competitions and stuff like that, it seems like people are into like the different kind of things that are coming up.
And even sub-only.
From the video, seems to me that Big John McCarthy was very, very impressed. Did he say anything else to you off camera?
He actually, it was weird enough because we were talking to him like 2 days before the fight, and he's seen all my videos. He said, "Oh, I've been watching you since your amateur career," and I was just, it felt kind of weird. I'm like, "Is that Big John McCarthy saying that?" I'm like,
I didn't even know who it was. It was so funny.
He didn't even recognize it was Big. He didn't know. He's like, I was like, "Dad, that was Big John McCarthy." He's like, "Yeah." McCarthy. I'm like,
God, even I know who that is.
It's starting to be a trend. Bob Marley, now Big John.
I know. Faces, I guess.
He does. I gotta say though, he looks way bigger on camera for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, in person, he's Big John McCarthy. He's you know he's gonna be huge, but he looks big, like especially on the big screen. When you see him in person, he didn't look like that Big John McCarthy, you know what I mean? But still, it was cool. It was awesome being able to talk to him. I got to talk to him for a few minutes. He was telling me, he wished me luck on my fight and everything, so it was cool. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He sounded like he really, really enjoyed what he saw. And I don't know who the commentators were, but when you put the body triangle on, they just about had a heart attack.
That was an intelligent move right there.
It was quite an intelligent move, yes.
I know. And the guy was bigger, and I didn't think he'd get a body triangle on him, but he managed it. You know?
I've been working on my triangles. I used to not really like hit triangles at all. I mean, I know it's a body triangle, not a regular triangle, but I've been actually I've been hitting them in practice. I've been hitting them in training. I kind of adjusted my hips. I got my hips more flexible. I've been working a lot. I've been stretching a lot more. So I do yoga every week actually. Also over at Ray Yoga over in Naugatuck, Connecticut. So I go over there. I'm doing like a lot of stretching over there, and then I make sure to stretch like in between sessions and stuff too. So I've been getting better with my flexibility, being able to lock in those kind of jiu-jitsu type triangles and stuff like that. So.
And that I forget what it's called, but there was that one takedown that you did on him where you wrapped your right leg around his left leg.
Leg hook. Yep. We call that leg hook. Okay. I can't remember the Japanese term for it, but we call that leg hook. Yeah.
Well, I was lucky enough because what I was telling your dad was I didn't have enough time to download the video and then put it in my video processor and edit slowly. So I just used YouTube to try to catch certain moments, you know?
You slowed it down?
Yeah. I wanted to catch the hammer fist because right.
The hammer fist. That hammer fist.
He came down, whomp. Oh.
Yeah.
I was right next to the cage, and you could hear the noises when they were hitting. You could hear the side kicks.
Yeah.
You could hear the elbow. And you want to know something? Nothing makes me cringe.
The elbow.
And that, you heard this like, like noise. It was so crazy.
The elbow actually, it didn't really make, the elbow didn't really make a noise, but it's because it actually slashed him. Like I hit it so perfectly that it like skimmed off his head. But the way it skimmed, like it still landed
Cut
flush.
him open, yeah.
The second one, then I postured up again.
Yeah.
I hit him again and dropped another one. The second one landed more like a blunt force. That one I could tell. I think the second one honestly had more force.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I could hear. Was Ron? Was that you yelling posture the whole time?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Posture.
Everybody in my corner was. Everybody's like posture. I
don't want his butt up in the air. That's what we work on. Catch wrestling, especially because that's what I'm working on with him heavily on. And it has a very strong, let's put it this way. You go two different directions with your hip, 45-degree angle and down at the same time. That's what pins a person. Now that's in Dumag also and other styles of grappling. Yeah. But they really stay on that specific area of posture in catch wrestling. So the posturing that we do would be like more or less I call it 3-point position, where you're on your shin, your foot and knee, and your other foot is up, and the hip is forward. Yeah. And if you saw, he did that, and even when he stood up, you see how the hip was very forward. The guy, think about it. He's in guard. That's his thing. Right. Yeah. And the guy couldn't do a damn thing. That posture is just ridiculous.
What did you think when you found out he was 12 years older than you?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even know he was 12.
I didn't either. Yeah.
I didn't find that out until the day of the fight. I looked at the screen and I was, it says he's 34.
Yeah, he looks real young.
I mean, I fought older people before. It was nothing. Right.
So you didn't know him beforehand? You didn't know who you were?
No idea.
No, he's from Brazil.
He's from Brazil. I couldn't find anything, no videos. I couldn't even study anything on him. I knew.
Well, that's even better.
Yeah. I didn't know if he was a southpaw or an orthodox. I didn't know anything. I just went in there and just fought him, to be honest with you.
Yeah. He went in because I've been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu since '89 or something like that. And I kind of knew. What I did is I worked him on his typical positions and what Brazilian jiu-jitsu would do in those typical positions. Right. However, the guy didn't do any of that stuff.
Like my manager Carlos, he told me, he was like, listen, he's going to come in strong. He's explosive. He comes in strong in the first round, and he didn't do none of that. I thought, to be honest, like for a second, I'm trying to like feel him out. I'm feinting, I'm moving, I'm trying to see what's he going to do, what's he going to go for. And then when he wasn't responding, I was like, I got to make things happen. So I started feinting, throwing a side kick. I was measuring my range out, hit him a couple times, tagged him a couple times, tagged him again, and then I saw a takedown there. Swoop, got him down. Yep. But he didn't fight nothing like I thought he would. I knew he was going to be good off his back, though. I knew that because, if you're a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he's going to have sweeps. He's going to have a triangle. He's going to have a good 50-50 to set up his leg locks. Like, I knew he was going to go for those types of things. So I was ready for it. He went for a leg lock. He went for a couple leg locks, and I was able to get out. He went for a triangle.
That we worked on before. That move where he did that reversal, we worked that. How many times did we do that? I don't even know. It's like, because it's a dangerous move. Yeah. It's a career-ending move, too. You know?
Like leg locks are nothing to play with. An arm bar, you tap, you live to see another day. A leg lock, you're going to be injured for a few months. It's definitely.
Do you know if Greg Nelson or Eric Paulson or Guy Chase have seen the video?
Eric Paulson actually said he actually congratulated me over on Twitter there. I saw he reposted it too on his page.
Eric texted me and he goes like this: "You got to get him a tan."
Yeah.
I'm like, a tan. I said,
yeah. Well,
yeah, I got to show you the text. He goes, "You got to get that boy a tan." I said, "Well, I said, they're dangerous. And he said, well, get him a spray tan. I'm like, oh, my God. He's probably joking. He's always joking. I know.
Like Donald Trump.
So listen, I got a question asked of me the other day. The guy says, imagine that you only have 1 month to prepare for a fight, right? Mm-hmm. He says, do you focus more on technique or conditioning? Now, let me give you my answer, and then you tell me if I was dead wrong. I said, well, I'd probably focus 20 to 25% on basic technique, and then 75 to 80% on conditioning.
Right on.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree 100%, because the game is mostly condition. You know what I mean? It's a lot more of it is conditioning than it is technique.
He's been doing technique all his life, really. So right now he just needs reminders. He doesn't really need new stuff. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So what we do is, we want to get the conditioning and make sure, because that could be the end on the third round. You see people on that third round, their hands are going down and they're looking like this. You know what's going on. There's
athletes in there. I mean, I'm talking athletes. Like some of these guys, you gotta see some of the stuff. I mean, in the gym, whatever. You know what I mean? They could jump high. They could explode. They could, like all that plays a factor in a fight, especially for getting out of a takedown. There's a side that's finesse and technique, but there's another side to it that's a lot of explosive movement. You know what I mean? That's where the strength and conditioning comes in. Yeah. I work my strength conditioning over in Watertown with my man Rob. He's one of my corners. I do strength conditioning with PRT Fitness. So we're doing a lot of different stuff over there. He's always mixing up the routine, making the routine interesting. So I get a lot.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about, like conditioning stuff. I mean, can you give us details on that, or is that like all secret stuff that you can't let out?
I mean, at the end of the day, they're not going to be doing exactly what I'm doing, but and a lot of the stuff is out there. I mean, you could look it up online, you could look up on YouTube. So there's really, to be honest, what is there to hide nowadays? Like, I mean, you could hide only so much. You got guys that release sparring film now, and what is it? I mean, once you're in there with the guy, that's when it's really coming together. But I would say the strength condition, we focus a lot on mostly kettlebells, mace ball, and calisthenics. I'd say those are the three most important, but we add a lot of resistance bands, a lot of different stuff where we're doing like sprints, agility type exercises. I mean, we change up the routine. It's not always the same thing. Every week it's something different. And I don't do too much strength conditioning too. You know what I mean? Like most of your training, you know what I mean? Granted, a lot of your training obviously has to be, very tiring, but you also need your training where you're working on just the technique too. Right. So you got to have a good balance. And then there's taking care of the body too, which is even more important. If you're not getting the proper rest, the proper amount of sleep, the nutrition, especially the nutrition is probably one of the biggest factors. I'd say sleep and nutrition are the two most important things. If you're not doing that, first of all, you might not make weight. Second of all, you're not going to recover after every session. Yeah. So I'd say recovery is the main focus, especially for this camp. I went through a ton of injuries. I had like a lot of injuries. You wouldn't even believe, if I were to tell everybody how many injuries I had to deal with this camp, and I was still able to get through it because I made sure my recovery was on point. Right.
So what, where do you go from here? What's next?
I'm trying to get on the next Bellator card. I heard they're coming back to Mohegan Sun. I'm not supposed to be releasing a date or a time, but they said they want me back. We'll see what happens. If it's not that, I know CES comes to Rhode Island in June to Twin River Casino, so I can do that. If not that, we'll see what happens. I got a lot of options right now, especially after coming off a big win. To be honest, I want to keep it big stage though, because I felt great on that big stage. Yeah, it felt amazing.
I've never seen anything like that. I mean, the staff. Yeah. I mean, I we've been to a lot of small games, but man, this was like completely different and organized.
Yeah, very organized.
To the T. I'll tell you, I couldn't believe. It was just fascinating from beginning to end.
It's like working on a movie set that's an independent film, and then working on something from Sony Pictures.
Yeah, completely different. Yeah, there was a staff for everything. I mean, they even had a water guy handing out bottles of water. I mean, it was
just
they
had everything down to the T. I mean, Kip Collar at Reality Fighting, his is a real organized show. So that's something. I mean, that shows how good his show is too. But I mean, that's Bellator. You know what I mean? Bellator, that's literally a step below UFC. UFC is like, you know, that's the main goal. You know what I mean? But,
competing head to head, but they're not. You know, UFC is still ahead because they were first.
So. So what's your advice to somebody who is now at a stage below you, right? Somebody who's now starting out and is having all the headaches and all the worries about, you know, is this worth it? What's your advice for somebody like that?
I mean, what I would say, you know, just keep training. Don't think about, you know, where you're going to go. Just, you know, live in the moment. Continually train, get better, because at the end of the day, you're not really trying to be you're trying to be better than the man you were yesterday every day. That should be the main goal. I would say, you know, just stick to the grind. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's what I did. I never really like sat there and, you know, thought, oh, you know, this is going to come, that's going to come. It's like I was just letting it come one after the other. You know what I mean? So I would say just keep training, stay solid, stay focused, and you know, that's how you're going to get where you want to go.
Experience speaks loud in this too, like being on the mat, you know, at grappling tournaments in front of a lot of people, being in the ring in front of a lot of people. You know, he's done that. What does he have, 70 videos or more, you know, online with, you know, his name on it. That's a lot of fights, and that's a lot of experience. So he's not going to have the same problems a person who goes in there at the first time. We've had guys, I mean, they could look good. They could, you know, G-Tech to lead jab, and if the hand is in the way, they'll even pock and take down, and it, you know, and then when you get them in the ring, they fight completely different because the lights, the nerves, you know, it changes what you do, you know. So
that's one thing I did in my fight is I didn't focus on anything. I just focused on, I just kept saying in my head, get the job done, get the job done. So get the W by any means, you know, whatever it takes, just get the W, get in there, get out of there. That's really what was going through my head. And to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not even looking at myself like somebody who's on the big stage. You know what I mean? Because that was one fight for Bellator. I got so many other fights ahead of me. I'm only 22 years old. You know, I got years and years to keep training and keep fighting. So I'm just going to go in there with the same mentality I always went in there with, you know, and just train hard every camp. And then.
So at this stage, they're not coming to you yet. You still have to go out in search of fights.
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
Okay.
We got somebody doing that for us. Though.
Yeah, we got.
Korea is doing that for us.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, so that's helping a lot, you know, because you know, he's gonna, you know, once we get in, we're in, but you know, that's gonna help out a lot.
Ron, you just mentioned, you know, going with the POC and what have you. So I'm gonna throw that question to you because this question is all over the internet. Does trapping work in MMA?
Yes.
100%.
Oh yeah. If the, you know, the hand is there, it works. If the guy doesn't have his hands up, you know, it's the old saying, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, instead of making a connection and leaving, you make the connection and you stay there. You know, that's the thing. And that's what people can't contend with.
Right.
Trapping is becoming extinct. I don't even see people using it, you know, outside of our crowd.
Yeah.
Or say Tim Tackett, you know, or you know, Steve Golden or something like that. I see a lot of people not really using it when they're sparring, even in their gym sparring, you know.
I see POC style being used all the time. People calling it, you know, a parry, but a parry, you know, is more to the side. But I see people using the POC style.
Yeah.
I see people using that. But the trapping is used on the ground all the time too. I see some guys who are like masters of ground and pound. Like if you watch like
because it's there. Yeah.
Habib, he uses it relentlessly. He'll take the arm, trap it, he'll start hitting you. Then when you start defending, he'll take that arm, trap it over, and he'll start hitting you with So it's, you know, trapping works.
Every style has trapping, you know, really. But it's a matter of recognizing. I mean, we bring it out so we can notice it. Oh, look at the way that style does it, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The commentators also said something about they called it blading. I think they were talking about your standing more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what are the advantages and are there any disadvantages to that?
Well, I would say the bladed stance works better than having like a stance where you're more squared off. I mean, granted, maybe for a wrestler, it's not as useful because a wrestler, like if you think about when they shoot him for their shot, when they're already in a stance where they're kind of squared off, they could punch, and you know what I mean. The shot's already right there. Yeah. But for my style specifically, especially I'm right leg dominant. I'm using my jab. I'm using my lead tools, you know, to measure out my range from my left, or to set up my takedown. So I think it depends on the person, the way they fight. I see people who fight with a squared off stance, and they could fight. You know what I mean? They're beasts, you know. But it's not my style. You know, it seems like that kind of fits more of that Muay Thai-esque brawler style. I don't have a brawler style. I consider myself a counter striker. You know what I mean? I'm going in there and I'm waiting for you to make the mistake. That's where my opening is.
Yeah. Did you see the intercepting?
Right.
That he did. He did, I think, two of them, real good ones, you know. And then he did use the G-Tech also, so I can't say just two, but he did hand intercepting.
Well, see, in the stand-up for a few seconds, Conor McGregor looked like you.
Like me or him?
He's got the beard going.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So okay, so you'll know how soon again when next you're going to be in the ring. How soon will you know?
Hopefully soon, man. I told my manager, you know, hop on it. Let me get on a car. I even tagged Bellator in a post and I said I'm healthy. You know, when's the next opponent? So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I'm sure he's gonna be. You know, we might find out in approximately a week or so. It might take. We're going to be patient on that. So I hope we do find out, and I think they will. Why not? That was the best show of the night. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there was only two people that looked like their style. Jesse was one of them. He looked Jeet Kune Do,
right,
and he kind of had a catch look to him.
Yeah.
Around. And there was a Taekwondo girl, Valerie something. She looked really good. She looked like Taekwondo. I even told my wife. I said, that girl is Tang Soo Do or Taekwondo. And then when she put on her black belt after her black belt outfit, you can see it was Taekwondo. And they were the only two that looked their style, you know, really, I thought. You know?
Well, no, I mean, and actually that was something that the commentators noted also, that you listed yourself only as Jeet Kune Do and catch wrestling. You know,
I did that on purpose. I do that on purpose. I want to be known for, you know, spreading, you know, having like a unique style. You know what I mean? Because a lot of guys go out there and, you know, it's the typical. It's BJJ Muay Thai or just Muay Thai, or, you know, I'm a boxer. Or, you got some guys going out there saying they're a brawler. You know what I mean? I'm going out there, you know, representing the Jeet Kune Do and catch.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna edit the video down and just take your fight, and I'm gonna spread that thing all over the place.
Awesome. I appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know,
we're trying to put the word out there for Jeet Kune Do people too. That's the thing. So people can see there are in action. I'm sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, you can't use Jeet Kune Do in sport." You can adapt Jeet Kune Do to anything. Obviously, look what he did. You know what I mean? So I mean, it can be adapted. You know,
there's a lot of people that use the Jeet Kune Do philosophy into their training. You know what I mean? I see it all the time. They talk about it.
More blending the styles, but that's not what Jeet Kune Do is. You know, but
the philosophy of it. They use that, man, like intercepting and stuff like that. You got, you know, as far as I'm concerned, John Jones looks more Jeet Kune Do than a lot of people out there that's saying they're doing Jeet Kune Do. You know what I mean? And then, you know, and obviously there's more fighters than that, but you know,
there's a Burton Richardson, I think, worked with John Jones.
Yeah, he's worked with a ton of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could see it in John Jones, you know, definitely. You know, that's why I'm an admirer of his. You know, when he screws up, I get so mad. I'm like, no, don't screw up.
That's where a freak athlete, you know, meets, you know, good martial arts training. That's a dangerous.
How come he's got such skinny legs? I don't get that.
I know. It's weird, right?
Fast.
What is up with that?
I think some people are just built in certain ways, man.
Yeah, genetics,
that's genetics. You can't change that. I don't think he could have big legs if he tried.
Right.
You know, some people are just born different, man. I know guys that are like all calves and thighs, but they got no upper body. There's just people that are just built differently. I got like a wide chest, wide torso, but I got like you know, my legs are kind of big, but like I don't have like, I wouldn't say I have like huge shoulders or nothing like that. I think it's just the way you're built.
No, man, you're exquisitely proportionate.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I would say that.
Exquisitely.
The thighs are like oak trees. I could vouch for that. Just training on the last day, I was sore for 4 days on different areas that I got hit.
The genetics plays a big role, man. That plays a big role.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
So okay, so Ron, you said you know he's been doing technique all his life, right? So
Yeah.
what's the key to maintenance now?
Well, like you said, drills pay the bills. The drill's appropriate. If you know, I'll take a technique. Say, we'll watch a video. Say, for example, and if his right toe isn't in the correct area, we'll do it. I'll create a drill to get that right toe. And this is hypothetically speaking, of course. I'm just saying, you know. So I'll develop a drill to get that toe in the proper place. You know. Of course, we got, you know, tons of stuff from, you know, Tuhan Guru, Dan, Larry Hartzell, others within the clique there. And, you know, I got my choice, just pull one out, you know, and even be creative and, you know, go from there, you know. So basically that's it. And, of course, repetition is the essence of all martial arts, you know, or anything you want to be good at for that matter, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. You know, that last week, like I said, we go over everything he already knows, you know. So I don't even want him to say, well, I know that already. It's not that. Go over it, make that your habit, you know, and you're always going to perform what the last thing you did, you know. So that's why we go over and over. You know, it doesn't matter if he learned it, you know, he's been learning it, you know, 20 years in a row, you know, every day, still go over it before the fight. And it makes a big difference, you know.
All right. So I got like 5 more minutes before this thing conks out on me. The crowd, Jesse, is the crowd a distraction, a motivator, sometimes one, sometimes the other?
I think no matter what, you know, I'm focused on doing one thing and one thing only.
Yeah, he doesn't hear the crowd.
I don't pay attention to the crowd. After the fight, I pay, you know, because you're all hyped up. You know what I mean? You can hear the crowd, you know, screaming, going crazy. I mean, after the fight, but before the fight, it really doesn't make a difference. Because I'll tell you what, when I had one fight where I fought in Springfield, and like the whole crowd, they were booing and everything, but like I didn't pay attention to that. You know what I mean? I went in there, it was the same thing. You know, and, you know, I got the W, and after the fight, you know, obviously I got my crowd there. They're obviously cheering, but you still got the other side booing. You know, it's one of those things where you're not really, you shouldn't be paying attention to the crowd. If you're paying attention to like all like the small things like that, in my opinion, you're not fully focused on, you know, doing one thing and one thing only. You should only be you're only there for one reason. You know what I mean? Granted, yes, take it all in, you know, feel it, but you know, you should go in there and just do work. We
didn't even hear the song, the Jesse James song, because the guy asked me, he goes, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "I didn't even hear it." I said, "You know, I'm focused on him. I'm just his focus. I don't, you know, no talking to anybody, nothing like that." So it's, you know, we didn't hear a damn thing outside of the fight. You know.
Ron? How do you know when he's ready?
It's just all the work that's done. I mean, he does all the work, you know what I mean? And I could see it, you know, the endurance, you know, the trainer lets me know what's going on. Yeah, he could do this, and, you know, he's ready. And I think for this fight, he was ready a month before it even happened. To tell you the truth, you know?
Yeah, it was actually a hard camp because I was coming off a bad shoulder injury, and actually a few weeks, like literally weeks before the fight, probably like 5 weeks before, I was still feeling it. I'm like, man, like, what, like, it's just going to go away. And eventually it just ended up, one day I woke up and I just kept sticking to the same regimen. Because obviously if you got to fight, you still got to do your sparring, you got to do your bag work, your mitt work. You have no choice. Like you have to do these things. And one day I woke up and it just stopped hurting. I was like, thank goodness, man.
Yeah.
So I was back in the gym, you know, just doing the same thing. I got like a real hard camp in. This whole camp was just a real solid camp. But the last like 2 weeks, I had to make sure my rib was good because I had hurt my rib like 3 weeks ago before I went to go train in Boston. And I had to make sure that was set. So I took a week off. like, and this is like leading up to a fight. I had to take a whole week off. I took a week off. The next week I was good. So I played it real smart this camp. Like usually like I'll just say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to train through this. You know, I'll be sick. I'll be like, I'm just going to go for a run anyway. I played it real safe, real smart. And I felt good. I felt efficient in there.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, listen, guys, and when with the next fight, let me know whatever it is I can do to, you know, to help promote and what have you. Anytime you guys want to come on the show, it's fine with me, barring the technology problems.
I'm a fast learner, at least. So
right? Yeah, no. There's another program that Nick Faruqi turned me on to that that we might be able to do this and do it on Facebook all at the same time. So by the next win, we'll probably have that in place and we'll be able to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Right? That'll be good.
I'm with it.
All right, man. Guys, it was a pleasure once again. You know, it was 7 months and 15 days ago that we talked about your debut.
Was it really that long ago?
Wow. Was it right after his other fight then?
Yeah,
it was the 7th. Yeah. It was the 7th of July last year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we're outside of my house. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
That's
right.
Great.
Yeah. So listen. So I was glad to be a part of it then, and I'm glad to be a small part of it now. But you know,
thank you, brother.
Congrats to you, man.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, man.
All right, guys, take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds good, man.
Thank you.
We'll talk again.
It's an honor, man. Thank you. You got it. Take care.
Okay, that was episode number 50 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Ron and Jesse James Kosakowski. As you heard, Jesse made his successful Bellator fight debut last weekend. And as I promised, I'm going to try to take that video and just chop it down to his fight and put that out all over the place. Coming up on the next episode number 51 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, which will be in about an hour and a half, is Bay Logan, the author of Bruce Lee and I. And he and I will be talking about his life and experiences as a transplant from England in the Hong Kong film industry. Next Friday, I'll be on with Clay Pratka, who is under Harinder Singh. So that's going to be Jeet Kune Do Athletic Associations. That's another one that I'm really looking forward to. So, you know, feel free to share, like, comment, ask questions. I'll review everything after posting. I encourage you to always sign up for notifications for when we go live on Facebook and when we post the new videos on the YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and follow me on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. I know, right? ilovejeetkundo.com. You can find still volume 1 of the Quick Skill series. And also at jkdrebel.com/store. Make a purchase. All proceeds go towards upgrading what it is that we do here. And I will see you back here next week for another episode of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys have a good weekend. Take care.